Welcome to Real Vermont News. Today, we're looking into how Vermont's far-left climate activists are waging economic war on our state's poorest citizens. Climate activists in the Vermont legislature keep trying to force even the poorest Vermonters to buy electric cars that can't drive very far and electric heat pumps that can't keep a house warm in a cold Vermont winter. All because those devices don't run on fossil fuels. Here's correspondent Guy Page with a report.
Thanks, Bob. Don't you know we're in the middle of a climate emergency? As the climate activists see it, when the global house is burning, there's no time to dicker over the cost of the fire hose.
But these activists are mostly Democrats and progressives. Don't they care any more about low-income people?
Not so much. The liberal heart no longer bleeds for the poor like it used to. It's moved on to another object of devotion, the reduction of carbon emissions. Here's the problem with that. Directly and indirectly, climate alarmism wages economic war on the poor. In direct terms, it forces them to pay more to stay warm because activists want to at least double the tax on the heating fuel, and the Transportation Climate Initiative, that's the TCI carbon tax on gasoline, will make it more costly to drive to work. The indirect pain is pretty impressive too. Every state dollar spent on climate change means less help for people with pressing, right now, real-world problems.
Yeah, a good example of that is the level funding for the Reach Up program that helps low-income parents keep a roof over their kids' heads. That funding hasn't increased since 2004, even though the cost of everything has gone way up in 16 years.
Exactly. And when Senator Jane Kitchell brought that up last year in a Senate meeting, a fellow senator, a climate warrior, said in effect, well, okay, sure, but reducing carbon is what's really important.
Like Vermont's going to make any difference. Anyway, what other budgets are being thrown under the electric bus?
Well, right now, the Department of Transportation can't afford to plow every state highway equally. But instead of budgeting for enough plows, drivers, sand, and salt, the legislature is increasing spending on railroads, electric buses, bike paths, and electric car subsidies. Focusing on climate causes other problems too. Inadequate elder care funding will have to be addressed as the baby boomers age. Actually, Vermonters suffer right now from inadequate housing. In the cities and resort towns, it's unaffordable.
Yeah, and that's where the climate activists want to make us all move, right downtown. Then we've got homelessness, a failing education system that costs too much, healthcare insurance relief, pension deficit reduction.
Yep, a whole bunch of real and growing problems. But the climate activists see only that Mother Earth is dying and the state of Vermont must rescue her. In the war on carbon, sacrifices must be made. And if government becomes more intrusive, to the point of, say, turning off your fridge or hot water heater at times of peak usage, well, that's what happens in wartime.
Thanks, Guy. It doesn't need to be this way, does it? If we didn't have a supermajority of climate activists running our legislature, we might actually be able to discuss natural gas or nuclear power or hydropower. At least you and I can keep talking about that. But for now, that's all the Real Vermont News we have time for. A lot more happened, and we'll be looking into all of it.
Paid for by Rescue Vermont Political Action Committee. Bob Fernier, Treasurer.